Where the waters mingling softly cast their silvery chains.
Hey folks, welcome back to another Wildcat in the Wild video. Before we get started, I just want to thank CNN Bank for being our sponsor for this video. CNN Bank is a proud sponsor of the Athens Area School District and celebrates the dedicated students and educators who help our communities thrive. Offering personalized services, CNN is committed to helping individuals, families, and businesses reach their financial goals. Stop by any of their locations in Sayre or Athens, or check them out online at cnnbankpa.com. And CNN wants to wish all the Wildcats a successful academic and athletic season. I appreciate them. And let's jump into this video and learn a little bit more about a former Wildcat, Mr. Aaron Thrush. Today we're catching up with Aaron Thrush. Aaron is a graduate of the Athens Area School District. He's a Wildcat. And right now, if I'm correct, Aaron, you're a physical therapist at the Cleveland Clinic in Abu Dhabi. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Aaron, thanks for joining us. What year did you graduate from Athens?
2001.
2001. We were having some discussion about that. It was like 2001. So I lost. For some reason, I thought it was 2003. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
2001.
When you think back to your high school years, Aaron, at Athens, what stands out the most to you? What was the most enjoyable parts of it?
Let's see. I think community of friends probably, and the activities that I was involved in, whether that was sports, mostly running, cross country, track and field, the band I was involved with. I think all of my years of high school, the group of friends, and I think it was a healthy balance of fun, some serious years of studying in preparation for college. I think those are the things that stand out the most. Yeah.
Aaron, did you were there anything specific, like the classes or teachers, that really helped you kind of choose a career path, like especially into healthcare, or was that just something that grew organically?
I think it grew organically. I do remember taking a big, long, complicated assessment, probably in grade 10 or 11, that actually my parents had me do. It wasn't through the school. And it suggested something that was probably a great suggestion, but I kind of ignored it. And then I realized that at the time, I really liked reading about training, exercise training as it related to running, exercise physiology, and that kind of thing. And then I met a few people who were on the course of studying physical therapy, and I just kind of made a quick decision. So it wasn't school per se, although I think I did realize that I enjoyed all the science-oriented classes at Athens, and so I think it made sense to me in that way.
Do you think the education you got at Athens helped prepare you to be successful as you moved on into college?
Yeah, I do actually. I remember thinking in college that I was well prepared compared to many of my classmates. In particular, I remember at Athens, excellent biology, chemistry, English, things like physics was in there. I remember being very challenging, but actually I got to my first year of college, maybe into my second year as well, and it was repetition in a way, like I was covering stuff that was already covered in my high school. So that was a bit of a relief and gave me a head start. So yeah, for sure.
That's fantastic. Aaron, I think there's always value to what you get out of high school, but it definitely sounds like you were well prepared to go on. And where did you end up going to college?
I did my undergraduate at Messiah College in Southern Pennsylvania.
Okay, I'm familiar with.
Yeah. And then I took a year off from school after that, and then I went to graduate school for my doctorate of physical therapy. That was at Arcadia University, just in the suburbs of Philadelphia.
Nice. What really gave you the inspiration that physical therapy was your path, a passion path for career?
as I said, it was a bit of a hasty decision. Not one that I regret, but looking back on it, I probably didn't factor in all the things that I should have. But again, I don't regret it in any way. I just realized it probably could have gone badly if I made a different quick decision. Um, I just remember really spending some of my own time on trying to understand health and physiology and exercise physiology and training principles. So I remember in one of my summer jobs, actually as a senior, my summer before going to college, I had a summer job with somebody who was studying physical therapy. And when they said that, it just made sense. And I think I went home the same day. This was like 2 or 3 weeks before I started college. And I said to my parents, I think I should do physical therapy. We called the school to find out if they even have this course of study, Messiah. They said, we do. We were like, is it too late to change? Because I had chosen something completely different. All my courses were in Spanish and international business. That was what my major was meant to be. And yeah, about 2 weeks or 1 week before school started, I called and changed all of my courses into the health professions and went with it. Really not having a very good understanding of what a physical therapist does. And I kind of came to learn about it later, I would say.
So it turned out pretty well for you. A spur of
Yeah.
the moment decision turned out to be quite the career path. And how does a kid from Athens, Pennsylvania end up in Abu Dhabi? Can you talk to us a little bit how this worked out? You work for the Cleveland
Yeah.
Clinic, but it's in Abu Dhabi.
Right, right. So I think I missed some signs. Maybe this is,
Some road signs? Definitely, you
some
definitely
road signs.
did.
Yeah, yeah. No. I mean, thinking about when I was a kid growing up in Bradford County, I I tell people this now because it didn't occur to me for like 10 or 20 years, I think. And then I realized as a kid, I slept on a bunk bed at the top. The bottom was empty, like it was just a space saving thing. And I had my parents get a world map and I had it tacked to the ceiling. And I would just lay there and I actually would memorize all the countries according to the continent they were on, the capitals, the flags, because the flags were along the bottom. And then we had this book of encyclopedias that, the people came around at that time in the summer times and would sell. So we had a set of encyclopedias. I ignored all of them except for the last one, which was all the maps and all the geographic data. And I would memorize like the longest rivers, the biggest countries, all this stuff. Never thought about that. Went and studied physical therapy. Knew that I liked to travel, but didn't get a whole lot of opportunities for it. And then, later it's dawned on me like, well, those were signs early on that I really liked not traveling. I wouldn't say traveling. I do like traveling, but seeing other cultures, reflecting on my own culture and where I come from when you're forced to do so because things around you are different. So I realized that much later. But I guess some of the things along the way, like when I was in college, I did a study abroad experience in Kenya. And that caused me to take a year off between my undergraduate and graduate studies. I took a year and I lived in Ethiopia. And ended up returning to that part of the world many times. And then I went to grad school in Philadelphia. I got a normal job. And I think I just, I was not really aware, but like I wanted to find something else outside the US. And I did like a short stint with a thing in Libya after Gaddafi's regime was ousted, which was like a short-term little thing. But there's not a lot of opportunities as a physical therapist, as an American physical therapist, to work in other places. Our licenses don't transfer well. It's not something people do. So I kind of stumbled across a job posting with Cleveland Clinic in Abu Dhabi, and I think I was just attracted because I thought, okay, this is a hospital that I'm familiar with. Everyone knows the Cleveland Clinic. It's opening in this place. My wife and I actually had a few friends who were living here for some years, so we got in touch with them and realized that it might be an interesting thing to do for a few years. And that was in 2016, and now it's going to be 10 years by next year that we've been over here. So, yeah, it's a unique experience. To again, professionally, it's rare to have the ability to travel outside the U.S.
Absolutely. And as a physical therapist, you don't just do physical therapy. You do some research too, from a little bit of my data digging on who Aaron Thrush is. Like,
Yeah,
uh, you've done some groundbreaking work. Would you like to share with us here back at home what that's all about?
sure. I've kind of been at it since graduate school 15 years ago, slowly along the way, but it's been building. Most of it in my own time, and research is not easy to do. It takes a lot of time and resources, but the resource is essentially time. Most of what I've done, and it is a variety of things, are related to, I guess, most recently, recovery from stroke and what recovery looks like for patients who have stroke and are in the hospital for the first 1 to 2 weeks, and how physical therapy impacts that recovery. Which being in the hospital it's a very complex environment, and answering questions about what we do and what the effect of is very, very hard. So we actually came away with something like some important findings that had not really been described before. Um, I have some things around measurement. So how do we measure what we're doing in physical therapy, the progress that people make? And again, some of the settings that I work in have not had a lot of robust information in that. So we've provided some things on that. Currently have some things related to ECMO. So ECMO is my current passion, I guess, since COVID. So many people on this specific kind of life support that really just exploded during COVID with so many critically ill people. So that research has continued as well, and it's stuff that is quite risky. So there's our research is around the safety, the models of care that we provide, um, and getting towards effectiveness in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so you talk a lot about the stuff that you did, and I think now that you've worked in a lot of places, like, and you've traveled a little bit, you definitely have an opportunity to have a time to analyze the differences in healthcare systems across cultures. And what's some of the differences that you notice now that you have been able to see large portions of the world and the
Yeah.
differences in healthcare?
Mm. Well, probably luckily I haven't experienced the healthcare in a lot of countries. Um, you know, I have a few times, but as long as you're healthy and not injured, you don't experience it to much depth, right? Despite all the traveling. I mean, obviously, my first 7, 8 years of work in the U.S. and then the last 9 years here gives me some insight. I actually had a clinical placement when I was in graduate school that was in London as well, so I was there for 3 months. So it was before I was even a working professional, so my awareness was not all that much, but it did give me insight into how, like a nationalized health system in the UK is. And now I would say maybe I learned more, not so much from traveling, but from my colleagues, because my team is made up of people from Ireland, England, India, the Philippines, Egypt, Jordan, New Zealand, Holland, Portugal, everywhere. So you learn a lot just by talking to people about how things are back home. So the US is unique, I've learned. There are some great things about the healthcare and some huge, huge disadvantages with healthcare.
I'm sure. So here's a little bit of a personal question. Uh, Adjusting to new cultures. What's it like adjusting to a new culture living in Abu Dhabi now versus rural Pennsylvania?
Mhm. Um, Abu Dhabi may be the easiest place that I've spent time in to adjust in a way because it's so diverse that there is no, I can't say there's no prevalent culture. The prevalent culture in a way is the local culture and an Arab culture and a Muslim society, but it's also so diverse that that is not it's not so overbearing actually. So because there's so much diversity, everyone kind of, it's a mix of, yeah, you're in a new country, new culture, but there's also so much reflected in the makeup of the people that's here. So um, it was a very easy transition for me to come here. I mean, I had spent time in other countries with much uh, far more cultures that felt much different from the US. But I think I enjoy it, and I think recently I was thinking about culture shock, this term that people use, right? I had zero culture shock in this country.
Wow.
Well, maybe I shouldn't say zero. There were some things I struggled with in the beginning, but I'm not sure I would even call it culture shock. So, but I think I like it so much, seeing other places, that I'm okay observing, being uncomfortable with the situation I'm in, being different than the group around me. Because like from that uncomfortable position, just so many opportunities arise.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you a question. When you get home, because I think you were home a couple months ago, what's a go-to thing you have to do when you get home?
Um, I mean, for me, the fresh air and the greenery in Pennsylvania is just. I was actually talking to somebody today at work about this. He's from Utah, and and I said, every time I go back, I think I ask my family, like, is it especially green right now? Did it rain a lot? I say it's brighter than usual, right? And they're usually like, no, this is normal. Uh, you know, so I think just experiencing the fresh air, the green grass, not to say that like there's really good nature here too. It's just entirely
Mm.
different. Um, and I mean, I don't know if you're insinuating food at all.
Well, I could. We
Yeah,
could.
a good apple pie, a good homemade apple pie. They don't quite understand. Anytime places here try to make apple pie or pumpkin pie, they just make it way too fancy,
Oh,
and it
gotcha.
just doesn't hit the spot the way a homemade one is supposed to, or a Pennsylvania, pie.
Simple is
Um,
best.
yeah, for sure. So pies, bagels, a good bagel. But we really have the majority of all cuisines here, so I can't complain from a food point of view. Nearly everything's met. There's always something, and I can never remember what it is. Graham crackers. It's hard to find a real graham cracker here for s'mores.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, I think I travel a little bit, and I have family that lives in the Southwest, and the first thing is the geography looks a little different, but you know, they still have the beautiful wonders that get you outside still. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same there. Um,
Yeah.
if you were sitting across, let me ask you some advice. I want you to leave some advice for our current Athens Wildcats. If you were sitting across some of our students today, what piece of advice would you share with them about their experience and their potential for the future?
Mm. I mean, I would say, based on my experience, the education set me off on the right path, right? It prepared me well. I took advantage of it. I prepared also in high school. I didn't slack. But so I mean, from Athens, you can really go anywhere. You can do anything, right? But a beauty of America, I think, is the opportunity. And right, if you set yourself on a path that you are willing to work for, you really can do just about anything. So, I mean, that's not specific to Athens or Pennsylvania or anything, but I think it's unique in America. And maybe that's it. Maybe just the realization that there's so much opportunity, that other people in other places don't have the access to. So consider that a privilege. You don't have to figure everything out in the first few years after high school. There's so many opportunities that will come, and just, life is a process. So keep stretching yourself, keep looking for opportunities that will make you uncomfortable and cause growth.
I always say, if you come into Athens, into our high school, and say yes to opportunities, you can leave with a great advantage moving forward into the world. And I think your message is take advantage of opportunities, walk into the unknown with some bravery, because I don't think people just travel and live across the world without having a little bravery. So I'm incredibly like in awe of you. So I don't know if that's something I could do, but you seem very comfortable and at home. So we're really proud of you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Aaron, I just want to say thank you for sharing your story. You are inspiring to all of our Wildcats and everybody who lives in the Athens Area School District. You're a testament to many of our success stories. You've shown us how the values we learn here in Bradford County and in Athens Area School District really can carry you across the globe. And I want to always say thank you so much for your time. And once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. I enjoyed it, and I hope that somehow this is meaningful for people who watch it. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.